Good afternoon, meteorologist Steve Fundero here. I'm about to pour myself that extra cup of coffee because we got a lot to talk about. Hurricane Ian strengthening as it's moving into the Gulf of Mexico after making landfall over Cuba later this morning. The system will eventually throw some beneficial rainfall our way by the weekend, way out in the extended forecast, but that's after this thing batters and totally soaks the state of Florida. The thunderstorms are really breathing in this system here on the high-res satellite imagery. This thing is the satellite is taking a picture every single minute and sending it back down to Earth. So we get these high-res images, and you see these strong thunderstorms kind of bubbling up in the outer bands, within the mid bands, and then the eye really just strengthening a significant eye here. And there are a couple what we call vortices within the eyes, meaning that there are a couple like little areas of spinning kind of centers of circulation, so to speak. This thing is as textbook as it gets when it comes to a major hurricane. It is a major hurricane, a Category 3. Noticing some of the torrential downpours coming on shore in southern Florida with the rain bands, the exterior rain bands. And this thing is also connected to a front that's draped across the state of Florida. And that's going to play a big role in terms of the amount of rainfall, the quantity of rainfall that does get dumped. We'll get to that in just a minute. But here are the specifics. It's moving north. But the latest satellite imagery kind of has it look like it's doing a northeasterly jog almost, or a northeasterly component. It's probably just wobbling a little bit because of those little areas of circulation within the eye. Sometimes they pull it one direction, then back the other. So these things tend to wobble a little bit here and there. Winds are gusting over 140 or at least to 140. And again, as textbook as it gets for a major hurricane. Now, the landfall... it's going to be a close one, and it's leaning a little bit closer towards Tampa and Fort Myers in that zone, so to speak, by about Wednesday, late Wednesday, Wednesday afternoon, Wednesday night, as potentially a major hurricane. Now, here is that front that I was mentioning to you before. It is draped across northern parts of Florida, and it doesn't really move much. So the system comes crashing into said front, and then kind of helps develop another convergence zone a little bit on the Atlantic side. Now you have strong northeasterly winds on the backside of the front. You got all the wind with a major hurricane with Ian. So it really just combos together into a just soaking system with surge on both sides of the storm, both sides of the state, that is. So rainfall total is going to be significant for the peninsula, and then you're talking about a storm surge on both sides because of the winds behind the front and then the surge from the hurricane itself. Up to 12 feet could be a peak storm surge for the Tampa Bay, Fort Myers area in southwestern Florida. So it's going to be an interesting setup here. Now, moving forward with the National Hurricane Center's official forecast, notice how close these lines are here between the landfall around later Wednesday into Thursday morning and Thursday afternoon. This thing really slows down on the peninsula, and fewer things are more dangerous than a slow-moving hurricane, just dumping the tremendous amounts of rainfall. Now, then it makes a bend to the north by the weekend. Notice how wide the track gets here. That's incorporating the uncertainty. So the center of the system could actually maybe make its way over to the Atlantic side, over the Atlantic Ocean, or stay west over land. But by this point in the forecast, Friday into the weekend, it becomes so unorganized because it's crashed into that front that it's just very lopsided, and there's just a ton of rain spewed across the southeastern United States. That tropical moisture, that surge of moisture comes up from the south, and that front lifts from the south into our region by the weekend, and it kind of meanders a little bit across Hampton Roads into Saturday and Sunday. So we're going to get a solid breeze out of the east, northeast. We'll get the tropical moisture hanging around that front, and we got some beneficial rainfall in the forecast. Now, the format, the type of rain we'll get, we'll iron out those details over the next few days, whether it be scattered showers, soaking rain, maybe some thunderstorms, potentially severe weather. All those things we'll iron out. Just know that by the weekend, if you got plans for the weekend, there's a good amount of rainfall on the way. But until then, it's dry, and we got sunshine, and it looks great outside today. It's going to be even nicer tomorrow, even nicer on Thursday. So some quiet weather really holding because we're behind the front. Here is the front offshore. If you remember, it brought some of the thunderstorms on Sunday night, but it's been hanging offshore. Yeah, it's connected all the way down to Hurricane Ian, but we're behind the front. So we got beautiful weather. We got post-cold front delight pretty much each and every day over the next few days. That cool air is actually going to get reinforced tonight, too, out of the north. So by the time we wake up tomorrow morning, we're talking about temps upper 50s in a few spots, mid 50s. It's going to be nice and refreshing. And then tomorrow afternoon, Our highs are barely going to be at 70 degrees. Similar case by Thursday. A few more clouds start to stream in from the south on Friday. We could get a few showers later on Friday, and then we'll iron out those details. And then it's likely we'll get soaked by the weekend with a solid breeze as well. Keep it here on wavy.com for more updates. Again, Jeremy updates these blogs every morning. He gets all the new information every morning. And, of course, we'll have all new details in the forecast coming up later on Wavy News 10 at 4 o'clock when Don's in the building. So we'll see you there.